Ah, Netflix, destroyer of blockbuster, vanquisher of spare time, and shunner of quality control. In all seriousness, I am glad they're around, as unlike other streaming services, smaller budgeted shows can actually compete against the mainstream. And for the last few years, the company has been licensing more anime. So without further ado, let's look at a couple of Netflix anime with dragons in the name, ignoring whatever the hell Dragon's Dogma was supposed to be. First up, Dragon Pilot, which is an anime where a teenage girl ends up piloting a dragon from inside its stomach. Okay, that's pretty interesting. So who are they fighting? No one. I'm sorry? It's set in modern day Japan, so there's no war or conflict, just some training exercises. Oh, so is it some kind of international tournament similar to Girls and Panzers? No. The dragons are kept secret from the public, so you can't have any tournaments. Not sure how they disguised the dragons before the invention of planes, or how they managed to keep such a secret with so many people involved. But okay, is the anime about introducing dragons to the modern world? No. So is it comedy or something? Has a few jokes in it. Well, that's something I suppose. So what kind are we talking about? Thoughtless quit talking, and vomit gags. So it's not comedy then? Not really. Reading its description is a story about Hisumi overcoming her insecurities. Oh, so she's like Komi-san then? No. She's perfectly fine talking to strangers, making friends, and basically everything else. So, well, she gets embarrassed a little easily. So yeah, I watched 6 episodes waiting for any kind of plot to start and was more bored than listening to a sloth reading the shipping forecast. So moving on to Dragon Prince, which actually has stuff happening, and consequently 1,000 times better. But before you can declare that a solid recommendation, I'm going to shout a whole bunch of issues on it. It begins with a giant dump of exposition explaining how long ago some grumpy bloke created dark magic using the life of living things to create destruction. Because of that one man, the elves force every last human being away from the magical lands, driving them to starvation, disease and strife. They then have a powerful dragon patrol the border, stopping any human returning to their homeland. After 1,000 years have passed, the human side finally managed to slay the beast and steal its egg, ensuring the elves can no longer rely on weapons of mass destruction to keep the human race in check. Normally I would say this is a pretty poor way to bring across exposition, but at least we've established who the bad guys are. Except the words and tone used implies the opposite. Yes, despite the elves committing genocide because of a single magic user, who, to be clear, wasn't actually shown to be evil, and then using an incredibly powerful dragon to keep the human race in check, the delivery implies the humans were in the wrong.
Horrified by what they saw, the elves and the dragons put a stop to the madness. The humans used unspeakable dark magic to slay Thunder. Then, without mercy, they destroyed his only egg.
How on earth could anyone describe these events and possibly side with the elves? That kind of backward thinking persists throughout the show, such as the king's guilt in his part to slay the hellish dragon, or the tough decision to either kill a single mindless beast or let 100,000 people starve to death because it's one of a kind? Honestly, I've never seen a series before that tries its absolute darndest to show how evil its antagonist Fireman is, only for me to remain firmly on his side. Yes, he tortures an assassin and orders an actual child murdered, but everything he does is to save tens of thousands of lives.
If we are strong enough to make the right decisions, humans may finally return to Zadia and take back the great magical lands that are rightfully ours.
He can see the horrors of the genocidal elves, and he's a leader who truly understands the weight of the crown, going out of his way to ensure the kingdom's survival. It certainly doesn't help that every other character acts like they've been drinking lead paint all their life. Callum and Ezrin's plan to return the egg is what the whole plot revolves around, and the idea is just plain ludicrous. Peace won't just happen because the baby dragon is returned. In fact, it'll likely spark a full-scale invasion. Well, thank you for returning the egg. Now we have a new dragon on our side and a couple of hostages. Prepare the soldiers, it's time to subjugate these humans once and for all. The anime talks a big deal about how it was wrong to take the egg and slay the dragon, but never actually shows the elves being good or justified. All we have to go on is that dark magic is inherently evil, which it just isn't by the way, and the character Rayla, who's kind, honest and adverse to killing, despite being an assassin. So we can at least say not all elves are horrific monsters. I did watch 2 seasons of it, so there were things I genuinely liked about the show. Firstly, the already mentioned backward morals, which I found pretty hilarious, especially when it frames Fireman in an evil light and there's me cheering him on with great enthusiasm. One scene in particular has Fireman desperately trying to explain the far more powerful elves are gathering to invade and obliterate them all, and the advisors just scoff at him. One of them even suggests,
Maybe that was it. They've had their revenge and everything will just settle down now.
Settle down. Can't you see the danger we're in?
Oh my God, the 59th Street Bridge.
Maybe it just collapsed on its own.
We can't take that chance.
You always say that. I want to take a chance.
Collapsed on its own. You have 72 hours. See you.
Second reason was that there was a lot of decent jokes in it, as well as a lot of eye-rolling slapstick, but oh well. Third were the characters themselves. Although the protagonists have an outstandingly stupid goal, their interactions were nice to see. The personalities were well done, and it had several genuinely compelling moments. All that being said, however, I didn't bother starting the third season, as I'm 100% convinced the show will double down on the whole elves are right idea, and make that wise, thoughtful Byron go utterly mad, what with the whole sinister worm thing in his ear. Not wanting to see any of that happen, I ended it there, and I suggest others do the same. And now, an obligatory Avatar reference. Moon, sky, ocean, earth, sun, stars, dark, jelly times. Long ago, the two races lived together in harmony, then everything changed when the elves attacked. Only a competent ruler, leader of all 5 kingdoms, could stop them, but when the world needed one, none came. Hundreds of years passed and the dragon was finally slain, its egg taken by a magic user named Fireman. Although his leadership skills are great, he has a lot of idiots to replace before he can rule anyone. But I believe Fireman can save the world.